Good morning, David. Paul here, and what a nice morning it is. I'm in a chapel here in Gabao, and this thing is attached to the church that I go to sometimes. Technically it's my church, the Church of St. Joseph in Gabao. So this is just a chapel at the other end of the road, the other extreme end of the village. So I decided to come out for a walk because the kids are all getting ready for school and it's really noisy, and it's such a beautiful day. I just fancy a walk. So let's have that walk before it gets too hot. So lovely little chapel, peaceful, and it triggers an idea. Well, not an idea, just makes me think. I have a book on tropical architecture, and there's a famous architect called Geoffrey Bower. He's a Sri Lankan who is now dead, and he had a couple of things to say about architecture in the tropics. And in fact, I maybe should read some of his books. He didn't believe in glass, for one thing, in windows. He said that was a very bad idea, which it does, it traps heat. And he also believed in what he called the open to sky room. So you'd have like a room which is open to the sky. So basically we would call that a courtyard, I guess. So where you could sit and cook and do all sorts of stuff. So that's just popped into my head at the minute. I think I'm going to incorporate one of them into one of my houses in either Talakota or here. So that's another thing he believed in. But the other issue, I think it was him, was that tropical houses should only be one room wide. And the reason for that is you can have, like here, an open ventilated side. Oh, it's just exquisite here, honestly. This day is just, it's just wonderful. It's so fresh and just beautiful warm air coming through. It's kind of like the best summer day that you could ever have without getting cooked to death or this or that or the other. It's just gorgeous. Anyway, looking around, what we have here is we got ventilation from one side and ventilation on the other side. So the slightest breeze just blows straight through the house, in this case the chapel, but it's blowing through, you know, it could be a house and it could blow through. Now, a few videos back I talked about pavilion construction, pavilion houses, and I'm coming to the point of view that I think I need to be thinking about constructing my house or houses on the basis of pavilion construction. In other words, in a straight line. So you have one room, where's my hand? One room followed by another, sort of like my fingers, you know. One room and another room, and they're all in a straight line or a wheelie line or whatever. But they allow for the house to be just one room wide, allowing for natural ventilation flowing through. The only other problem that the only problems you have in the Philippines, it's dirt cheap to build a house here because you don't need to worry about keeping warm. And so basically you just need to keep the lamok out, the mosquitoes, so you can screen in the walls to screen out the mosquitoes and allow free ventilation through. And the other problem is rain. So if you've got a good roof with a good overhang, good eaves, that's that solved. And that's pretty much it. It's very, very cheap to build a house here, and I'll say it repeatedly. Build a wooden house. Grow the wood, get some land, plant some trees, buy cheap wood, use cocoa lumber, whatever, build a wooden house. And as the trees grow, fell them in a smallish, machine them into square sections and replace all of the cheap cocoa lumber bits, till eventually you've got a beautiful teak house, so in a sense you're growing your house, and do it that way, and then you don't have any problems with regulations, because the legal system is that wooden houses are regarded as what's called Bahay Kubo, native houses, and they're not subject to regulation. You just build them, because if you think about it, they're disposable. They're not going to have any environmental impact, and that's it. So, and they're incredibly environmentally friendly. Now I noticed something over here. There's a sort of, I don't know what this is. It's like a kind of, I'm sure it's significant in the Bible, but I don't know what it is. But I'm just looking here. Is this wood? No, it's not. It's like, it's been like painted to look like wood. Because I was very suspicious that, seeing that, you know, very few growth rings, would imply that it was some kind of very rapid growing tree. In other words, have they got their hands on Paulawinia? But it turns out it's not. It's just fake, what you call scumble or scrimble or whatever, where you make pretend wood grains. Okay, so moving out of here, I thought I would do a little video of this area of the village, the opposite end, the non-busy end. Just a few houses here and the odd sari store, which means like a general dealer. Sari meaning various, just various odds and sods that you need. Tin of tuna, or buy some rice or snacks or whatever. So that's this end of the village, and I'm going to take a walk around the back. I made a video of this before, and I did all the video, and then I got to the end and I realised I had the camera turned around the wrong way, and I'm showing you views of mountains, and it's not, it's my head, so I've got it the right way around now. Anyway, I'm a bit more coherent now because I've woken up a bit more, and I've clarified my thoughts about what I want to say. So I'm talking about previously talking about my options, because I'm due to go back in a few days' time, and it's the first time I'm leaving the Philippines when I don't feel sad, because I see a bright future ahead of me. My daughter-in-law sadly died from cancer, and I'm going back for the funeral and also going back to work. And you know, she's in a better place, that's I believe. And kind of, it's the subject of this video that I'm talking about, these things. When I first came to the Philippines, I completely fell in love with the place. Man, it was total love affair. So I decided I just felt like this is home, you know. And I thought, well, I want to stay here. How can I do that, you know? And I've got family in the UK that I'm going to leave, my 2 sons, you know. I can't just walk away and leave them all. Well, the modern world affords us different opportunities, because we can come and go here and then go there and do all sorts, which we could never do in previous generations. So that begs the question, well, if you wanted to live in the Philippines, how would you do it? How can you do it? And honestly, guys, if you want to do this, I would seriously suggest that you save your money up, get yourself a passive income source, and we're talking pensions here, and that's your basic living wage. Now, living here in the Philippines for me is magandang umaga. So living here for me, if I were to just come here, I can live like a king on the amount of pensions I've got. It just buy more bang for your buck. Not that I'm rich, it's just that I'm rich here. Rich is a relative thing in different places. So So that's an option now available to me, but I still want to keep the connection with my kids, and I've now got 2 Filipino kids growing up over in England. So I've got 4 kids in the UK that I want to see. So how do I get around that? Well, things have changed even since last year. Christina's got a lot more agreeable about a lot of things, easy going, and I think that could simply be because she's more secure, because the guy, oh, he went away and he came back, wow, that's like 50-50, will he come back or will he not? So I came back, so she's not pushing against anything I've got planned. So the plan at the moment is she's going to come over on a tourist visa, if we can get it, to visit Portugal for 3 months while I'm there during the 3 months of summer, June, July, August, working on the house. She's going to give me a hand, and she's also going to get to know life in Portugal. Now, as I say, I completely fell in love with the Philippines, and then many years later, we're talking, I don't know, 25 more years later, I go and visit Portugal, and I completely fall in love with that country as well. So do you not love the Philippines anymore like it? Well, no, it's not like that. Each one of them has something about them, you know, and I think part of it is the very kind, really nice people. I mean, your average Portuguese guy has got a good heart, you know. They're good people. You can get cynical. You can get cynical living somewhere like London, which is dog-eat-dog kind of place. And then you can come to somewhere like the Philippines here and meet some genuine people. Not chancers trying to exploit the system. And you can also go to Portugal, and you will, you'll be surprised and maybe shock yourself out of your cynicism. So last year I made a video of areas around Gabao which were flooded and muddy, and it was just raining all the time. There was just mud everywhere. We'd had 4 typhoons, floods, every damn thing going at us, you know. And now you have this. So it's like you go through a storm, things are terrible, and then it clears and it's beautiful like this. This is a beautiful place to live, but there's not a lot going on here apart from a few hot springs. So you need a project. So some of you guys, if you want to live in the province, I think you might find this a little bit tame. Especially a Davaoino like me, you know, the bustling city of Davao. I'm not missing Davao or Talicud Island, because we've agreed that we're going to develop our piece of land on Talicud and make something of it. And why not? Because you're mining the sky. Be a farmer, mine the sky, mine the photons from the sky and grow things. The solar energy is pouring down, producing stuff that sustains us, and you could own a piece of it. So get yourself a farm. Anyway, this is some kind of rice processing department, I think. All that stuff out the back there is husks. Yeah, the leftover husks off the rice. So a nice place to live, this. Nice quiet little spot of the village. So I walked down here before, but I'll have to walk down again to show you. You can get really hung up about material things, and you're kind of compensating, I think, for a lack of something emotional, I think, if you get too hung up about it. And here in the Philippines, that side of yourself starts to just fall away. You know, it just falls away, and it becomes not so important. It's what matters here is the people and security and knowing where the next meal comes from and stuff. And you know, I'm well past that. So what I've decided so far is I'm going to apply for residency in both countries, and I'm going to do my 6 months in Portugal and 6 months here, and I can carry on doing that indefinitely. Now, the optimum time would be to go to Portugal in the summer area, over the summer, and then in the Philippines over the winter. Now, the visa that I'm applying for in the Philippines gets cancelled if you're outside the country for 5 years. Well, that's no way that's that happening. That's not going to happen. So I'm fine. And then I'll just, you know, come back every 6 months, and there's not even an obligation to be here for the 6 months. As I said, that's not a problem. So I will be able to match the two together, but I must comply with the Portuguese one, which dictates that you have to be there for 6 months and 1 day. So I'll do that, and I'll spend the rest of the time in the Philippines. And if I cannot get Christina and the kids over, then what I'll do, I will simply leave them here. And in order to not spend so much time away from my future wife, which is going to be a killer, and I've spent far too much of that being on my own, let's put it that way, that I don't want to do that again. So what I'll do is I'll bring her over on vacation, so she will just be a tourist and I'll be a resident, and we'll leave it at that. And then I'll try and up our incomes so that we're free to be able to move over. Anybody thinking about living in the Philippines, you expat type guys, right? Here's a suggestion for you. Go and learn how to sail, and just have the cojones to just do it, right? Learn how to sail, buy yourself a decent boat of about 30 feet long, and I have a one in mind actually, my son's boat that he sold, and I'm thinking if I ever get the money I'll buy it back off the person who bought it. She'll have lost interest by now. Anyway, get that boat, sail it to the Philippines. Now, you don't have to take it from America or the UK. You could actually simply get one over in, I don't know, maybe Malaysia or somewhere where they've got a bit of money, but they're not too far away. Do that, bring it down here, get yourself a bargain boat, bring it down here, and spend your time cruising between the islands, sailing. There's one certain spot to stay the hell away from, which is Sulu province, and the rest of it you'll be fine. And if you sail to one island a day, which is a preposterous idea because it's so, some of the islands are so big, but if you even just visited one per day, it would take you 21 years to get round them all. So that's going to sort you out in sailing for a lifetime. And live on a boat, and then explore the various areas and see how you like it, you know. And you have a home everywhere in the Philippines, and you own the home. So also to those expats, something fundamental has changed, and the fundamental thing that's changed is the President Marcos, I think it's Dong Dong Marcos, or is it Ding Dong Marcos, I can't remember. Anyway, son of Ferdinand Marcos, he's the president now. He's introduced a law which allows foreigners to lease land for 99 years. This is a fabulous idea, because it means that the sovereignty of the Philippines is not eroded. So you can come in here, you can effectively buy a piece of land and live on it and build a grand house and have a grand lifestyle living in this mansion thing. And then you're going to be long dead before you need to worry about like it going back to the original owner at the expiry of the lease. And you can either will the thing to your descendants, and they can renew the lease if they wish to. So effectively you end up owning the place. Now, an issue I keep talking about here, and nobody does it my way, but you'll see me do it. I'm going to build a house here, and the issue is this: it's if you want to build a house here, you've got to go through a load of rigmarole like geotechnical reports, planning, architect, and this and that, and the other, and expense, delay. We will process the papers, sir, and all that kind of stuff. And that's the way it goes, building concrete structures. But if you build a wooden house, then you don't have any of those problems. It's just it's sorted out. I'm going to turn that faucet off because water is dirt cheap here, but I still think we should conserve it, you know, because it's clean water, you know. My God, that's beautifully clean water. That's a deep borehole. Yeah. So anyway, getting back. So you build what's called a bahay kubo, a wooden house, and it doesn't have to be like a nipa hut or something. You could build a log cabin or something. You could build a fabulous thing. But you don't need the building permission for that. You just get on with it. No regulations, no nothing. Now here is some kind of concrete construction, and that thing's hideous. It's hideous. And it's there like a monstrous carbuncle on the land, which needn't have been made in the first place. And if it had been made out of wood, which was bolted together or nailed together, it could have either been left to rot and it would cease to be, or it could have been dismantled and the materials moved and used somewhere else. So that's why I don't like that at all. And also it's much better for earthquake safety. So do consider that. Watch my channel and see what I do. Anyway, I was saying about this love affair with the Philippines and with Portugal. They're different, but there's a theme there because they're both Roman Catholic countries, and the nature of the people is basically the same. Nice, kind people. In the Byzantine Church, all the Byzantine, like Greek Orthodox, Byzantine Catholic, Russian Orthodox, that sort of thing, we have a thing called an iconostasis, a load of images of saints, like a wall, and at the other side is where the consecration of the host and everything goes on. On the other side of that screen, the iconostasis, and you see glimpses of it going on. And the idea of that is it's supposed to be like a division between earth, where we are, and heaven. So you're getting a glimpse of what it should be like. And church, in the Catholic Church, they're made beautiful because the idea is you want to be getting an impression of what heaven must be like, a heavenly thing. That's the idea of that. So in the Philippines, I had an experience here where I was riding along in Davao and I'm crossing a bridge, and I look over to the right, down by the river, there are all these squatter houses and stuff, and I just don't know what it was. It was just like this feeling that that division between this world and the next, between here and heaven, had just worn thin, and the light was kind of shining through, you know, glittering through. And I've had that same experience in Portugal as well. It seems like the place is alive. So all of this, it's kind of, where's the love coming from? Why do you love this place or that place? And I think it's, you know, God as the source of all love. I think it's that. I think that's what the the connection between the Philippines and Portugal is. So the thing that you're attracted to here and the thing that you're attracted to in Portugal is basically the same light of Christ that you're glimpsing in both of the places. I often say that Filipinos have the light of Christ in their eyes, and they should remember that. You really should remember it, Filipinos, and stick to it, and just keep on with the project. You just keep being who you are, and be proud to be a Filipino, and mapagmataas, you know. Don't tell anybody, let anybody tell you your culture's wrong or something like that. It's not. It's not. Filipinos have survived tremendous hardship, and it's their culture that drove them through and made them survive. Really, really tough people. Unbelievable poverty some of them have had to endure, and they got through, and the nation is here and it's intact and it's moving forward. So that's my point of view anyway. So anyway, it's back to the UK, attend that funeral, go back to London, back to my cabin in the woods there. It'll be slightly warmer, carry on working on that, improve it so it's a little resort to use when I'm there, and get back to teaching. I've got my DBS now and get back to teaching. And I'm just praying that life picks up, because nobody seems to be hiring teachers at the minute. Every time I want a job, there's a recession going on or something. Mr. Stormer, just do your job, you know. Prioritise the British people. So that's it. So Jesus be with you.